Hi everyone, my name is Manny and welcome to my channel, Some Like It Vintage, where I post videos about my doll collecting journey. And in today's video, we're going to be doing some casual sort of doll maintenance and just chatting, hanging out. So if you're interested in that type of thing, definitely stick around. So the main purpose for this video is to bring you along with some doll maintenance that I have to do today. So let me turn the camera around and show you what we're going to do today. So I have my desk laid out with all the dolls that we're going to work on today. And I'm just going to be focusing on something pretty simple and easy to do for this video. And that's going to be fixing their leg placements. So an ideal leg placement for me is here is what my number 4 Barbie looks like. She has perfect feet placement, and I actually did fix her posture because her feet and her legs were a little more spread out. But I think it just looks much cleaner and better to have the feet a little bit more together. So yeah, I want to do that for all of these dolls. They all have varying stances. I think one of the worst ones that I fixed was my Midge doll. She underwent one treatment. The vintage Midge dolls have, I don't know what's wrong with their bodies, but before I had fixed her legs were really spread out, and that tends to happen to Midge specifically for some reason. So this was after one treatment, but I think I want to do one more just to see if I can get them a little bit closer, because I mean it's not bad. I could definitely live with this, but I want to get it more like that, on my number 4. I don't know, maybe that's just me being crazy, but it's a pretty simple treatment, and in my experience I haven't had any issues with my vintage dolls. I think in this video is going to be a little bit more of an experiment to do the twist and turns. So the twist and turns have this the rubbery legs, and I haven't done the treatment or tried to do the treatment on the rubbery legs. The worst is actually these 2 dolls. I had to put ribbon to kind of tie their legs together because it's pretty spread out. If I were to cut this, let me see. Yeah, so immediately I already see their legs start to spread out, and I want them to be more like that. Especially right now it doesn't look as terrible, but when they stand up, for some reason they tend to spread out even more, and it just looks better to do that. And I don't want to keep the ribbon, oh sorry, that's a bad view. I don't want to keep the ribbon around their legs because their legs are made out of this soft rubber material, and I don't want it to make any indentations. And for some reason, this Malibu doll has really spread out legs. I don't know why her stance is so spread out. But we're gonna try to fix that. I haven't done it, like I mentioned, I haven't done it on the rubbery leg dolls, but we're gonna do that. And the way that we're gonna do it is by using these jars and some hot water, and we're just gonna tie some ribbons around their thighs and possibly the calf area. And after tying it with some ribbon, or actually we're gonna use hemp rope just because it holds much better than regular ribbon. So yeah, we're gonna tie their legs with this and then put them in the jar and then pour hot water into the jar. And you want jars that are pretty tall because a lot of the issue with these stances being so wide here, at the hip joint, go up pretty close to that hip joint. It doesn't have to cover fully, because like this steam of the hot water should loosen that up. Yeah, so that's why I have like varying tall jars so that I can put them in that. And I think I feel like the only doll that I would say is like not a good candidate for this kind of sort of like treatment is the talking dolls from the 60s and 70s. So this is my talking PJ, and the reason she would not be, even though her feet are actually pretty far apart, she would not be a good candidate for this because their bodies are just so fragile. So I would highly advise against doing this treatment on the talking dolls. And also you don't want to get any humidity and water in this talking mechanism because there is some like metal parts in there. So yeah, just not a good candidate, even though her legs could use it. Although I could probably maybe just do like the ribbon tying thing and that would kind of fix it. But yeah, anyway, they're really delicate bodies, so I'm not gonna do that. Okay, also something that I wanted to show you was my Steffi doll. Oh, her boots fell off. Okay, so my Steffi doll, I fixed her yellow face, and this is like my third time trying this method out. I used a Copic marker, and it is a little bit tricky. This is my third time doing this method. The first time I did it was on my Stacy doll, and you can see it's actually really good. Like her face was really yellow. I don't know if I have before pictures for her, but her face was like pretty yellow. And I did something, I did things a little bit differently for each of the times that I've tried this out. But let me show you the second one that I worked on. You can see was the second doll that I did the Copic marker technique on. And I noticed that the first time I did it, eventually the Copic marker kind of like faded away, and then I did another treatment. So yeah, for Steffi, the Steffi standard, I actually put her face in denture tablet water first, and I left it there for 3 days on a windowsill so it could get some sunlight. And it did get rid of some of the yellowing. It didn't get rid of all of the yellowing. And yeah, I wish I filmed the technique. I'm sorry I didn't film it. It's just because like this is my third time doing this technique, and you know, it's not something that I want to put on the internet so other people could like do, because I don't want to be responsible for people like ruining their dolls. So I want to make sure that like, you know, what I'm doing is gonna work before actually putting it on the internet. So yeah, anyway, this is probably my most successful treatment. So I will probably, if I find another doll that needs the treatment, I'll you know, film a video on it. But if you're interested, the Copic marker that I use is this one here, RV21 Light Pink. And you want to use this with Q-tips and a little bit of rubbing alcohol to kind of like rub it in. Yeah, I would maybe advise against it unless you like find a video or like a tutorial of how to do it, just because it's a little tricky and can be a little bit scary because you're literally putting marker on your doll. So just be really careful. Something that I have not seen other people do is actually use this Copic marker. It's V20 in Wisteria, and it's kind of hard to tell in this video, but it is like basically like a lavender grayish purple color. And if you understand color theory, you'll know that, you know, the complement of yellow is purple. So if you add purple to yellow, it essentially kind of like cancels out that yellow. So that's what I did with my Steffi standard. And actually my TNT Stacy, because their faces were so yellow even after the denture tablet treatment. So I put this one first, and then I did the pink one, and then I did another purple, and then more pink. Like, it honestly, it's not an exact method. You kind of have to like try it out and see what happens. But yeah, so if I find another doll that needs the treatment, I will make a video on it, because I know there's not a bunch of videos out on the internet. And it's honestly probably for the best, just because it's kind of dangerous, right? Because you're putting like marker on your doll, so you don't want to like ruin your doll. So yeah. Okay, so I think that's enough talking. Let's go ahead and prep these dolls so that I could fix their stances. Okay, let's get started. Okay, so the first thing I'm gonna do is just tie up all of their legs. And I think I'm gonna tie around the thigh area and also the ankles. And something that you wanna make sure to do with this technique is to use like a buffer. So like a piece of fabric, or I'm going to use paper towels to kind of create a buffer between your, what you're using to tie the legs with and like the plastic of the doll. And the reason is because when you heat up this plastic, it is going to become a lot more malleable. So you just want to make sure that you are not, creating any sort of like indents from what you're using to tie it with. All right, so everyone is done. They are all tied up. Oh, this one fell. But something that I do also want to mention is that if you are doing like rubbery leg twist and turn dolls, they do have holes at the bottom of their feet, because like the bending mechanism is in there. But because they do have holes like basically throughout their legs, if you get it wet, it can take a really long time to dry. And that's something that you want to be really careful about, because if it doesn't dry properly, it could lead to like mildew and like mold buildup inside. And that's why some of these dolls start smelling like mildew. And I live in California, so it's pretty dry out here. So I think it's gonna be okay to fully dry. I can like leave them out in the sun, or I also have like this heat dish that I could sort of set them near to make sure that like all the moisture is getting out of their legs. So yeah. Okay, so let's go ahead and go into my kitchen so we can dunk these girls in some water. Okay, so the water is finishing up right now, and all I did was stand them up in these really tall jars, and I'm gonna fill it up pretty high, as close to the hips as I can get it. It doesn't have to cover the hips completely, because the steam from the hot water can loosen that up. So yeah. Okay, so now that they are all sitting in hot water, I'm gonna let them sit down for 10 or 15 minutes, and then we're gonna dunk them in ice cold water. Now, I don't know the chemistry behind that, but the idea is that you want to shock the plastic into its new position. So it's going from very warm to ice cold. So yeah, I'm gonna let them sit for 10 or 15 minutes and then we'll do that. All right, so this is what she looks like now. I think it's better. I don't know how well this is gonna hold because it is rubber, so it might just go back into place. But that's not bad, actually. It's definitely better than it was before. And when she's on a stand, I can also put a little bit of pressure on the feet. Sorry if this is out of focus, I can't really tell. But I can put a little bit of pressure on the feet so that they do kind of stand together. But before I couldn't really do that, and it looks like I can now. So yeah, that's good. Okay, so I am a little worried because I don't know if you can tell, but her legs have whitened. Like it's a lot more white than the rest of her body, and that's a little scary. Okay, I think it's going back now. I think the ice water just kind of made the legs this color. Well, hopefully when she cools down, the color will come back to her legs. But as of right now, this makes me a little bit worried. So the ankle came out a little bit twisted, like this one here, you can see it's kind of bent out. So I'm just gonna use my fingers and like carefully sort of move it back towards the center. Yeah, it does seem to be going back actually normally. So that's better. Sorry if my shirt is like dizzying. I didn't realize it was gonna be so stripy on camera. Yeah, I actually got this shirt at Disneyland when I went. It's pretty close to my house. It's like maybe like a 25-minute drive. And I went for my birthday. My sister and her fiance bought me tickets to go to Disneyland, so that was really kind of them. And I hadn't been to Disneyland since I think the last time I went was like in 2016. So that was really cool that we got to go again. When I was growing up, we went to Disneyland quite a few times actually. My aunt, she worked as like a maid at like the Marriott sort of chain motels in Anaheim, California, which is where Disneyland is. And she would always get like deals on tickets to Disneyland. So growing up, we always took advantage of all those deals, and we went quite a few times. So I have a lot of really good memories associated with, you know, the Disney parks, I guess I should say. Because if you didn't know, Disneyland in California, there's Disneyland and there's Disneyland California Adventure, and they're two different parks, and you have to pay two different admissions to get into them. But yeah, I'm not like a big Disney person. I grew up with like all the movies and, you know, stuff like that. But I think I'm more of like a Disney parks person, just because, I don't know, growing up I have a lot of nostalgia for the park, but I don't have like a ton of, you know, love and nostalgia for the Disney media per se. So yeah, I'm not a big Disney person, but I do love the parks. And when I went, I wanted to buy some merchandise because there was just so much merchandise. I didn't know what to get because I wasn't like super like thrilled with a lot of the merchandise because it was like Mickey Mouse, Minnie Mouse, and then all these like movies and stuff like that that I don't necessarily really care about. And I thought about it and I was like, you know, I feel like the only like Disney merch that I would get is either Alice in Wonderland or Nightmare Before Christmas. Nightmare Before Christmas is actually a movie that I watch every year, sometime between like the month of October and December, because it's both like a Christmas movie but also like a Halloween movie. So yeah, it is something that I watch every year. The music is really good and it's just a good movie, you know. So luckily I went for my birthday, which is December 23rd. So we went like on the day of my birthday. So they had, everything was kind of like Christmas themed. The Haunted Mansion was decorated like Nightmare Before Christmas theme, and right outside of it, they had merch. So I saw this shirt and I was like, I would buy this. Like I would totally wear this. I love the Nightmare Before Christmas. And yeah, so that's the one thing I got. I didn't see a ton of like Alice in Wonderland stuff. And yeah, in terms of like Disney media, I would say those are probably the two movies that I would like buy merchandise from. And I wasn't like super in love with the Alice in Wonderland stuff they had. Like I feel like they could do like a lot more with the Alice in Wonderland merchandise, but yeah. Anyway, these are done. Let me go ahead and get them dressed and then show you guys like the result. All right, and we are done. And I think they came out all perfectly, minus one thing that I do want to show you. The legs on my Malibu Barbie are still not completely back to normal, although I am noticing that it is getting better and better. And I do feel a little bit of coldness, so I think it does have something to do with the ice cold water. So I am really hoping that it does turn back to its original color. It is slowly getting back to its original color. But yeah, until then, I don't know that I recommend doing it on a vintage TNT. But on a repro, however, the repro has no discoloration, so I think it's pretty safe to do it on the repro. And it fixed it. It fixed the issue, because before I had the ribbon tied here onto the ties. I had to tie the thighs together, and I don't have that anymore. So it fixed it. That's amazing. I'm really glad that worked, and it did fix the stance on my Malibu Barbie, but it's just unfortunate that the color hasn't completely gone back to normal. I'm praying that it does go back to normal. But the stance is perfect. It's exactly what I wanted. And with Steffi, I could probably do another treatment, but I don't know. I think it's fine. Like, this is better than it was. And she's gonna be wearing these pretty chunky boots anyway, so I think that with the boots, it'll look normal. But yeah, so that is my Steffi. And then the dolls on the Barbie Midge bodies, also I had really great success with. This one could maybe use a little bit more adjusting. You can kind of see the ankle going that way. So I do need to fix that. But yeah, keep in mind actually that, so these three, this is the first treatment of, the first treatment that I did on them. Midge, this is the second treatment that I did, just because her legs were so bad. And it's finally better. Like, it's finally like the way I want it to be. So yeah, just keep that in mind. You might need another treatment just to really get the legs in place. Like, I could probably do another treatment on this one to really correct that part of the leg. But yeah, so that is the dolls. She's falling over. She always wants to fall over. That is the dolls. They are all done and looking a lot prettier. So that is it for today. I hope you enjoyed hanging out with me. And if you did, don't forget to leave me a like on this video. And if you haven't already, why not subscribe? All right, everyone, thanks for hanging out with me. I hope to see you all in the next one. Bye.